Hey, I'm just taking the dogs for a walk and found this beautiful fig tree which I've seen before. I thought I'd come over and well, actually, I was myself underneath if you want the vulnerable, open, honest truth. Might as well water the tree, you know. But I was connecting with the tree spirit as well whilst I was doing so. These are very beautiful, significant trees, these particular types of figs. And we've got quite an abundant crop of fruit that is not yet ready. I just tried some of the fruit, and yeah, it's a little bit too acrid. It's quite tart, even though it's not ready. It's probably not going to be ready for another 4, 5, 6 days. And as you can see, there are other locals that already know about it. I'd say this is probably batshit if I was to take an educated guess. Well, I was not really that educated, it's just from experience. And his experience is education, I suppose. That's how they did it in the old days, isn't it? Now, this particular tree has the same kind of fruits. Can we see way up there? I don't know, something just happened to my technology there. If we can we get a... You can see all the way up there. See how it spreads out so much. Now, if you have a whole grove of these kind of fig trees, and let's say they're a few hundred years old, you have the buttress roots hold everything together, the mycelium holds everything together. Look, here's a Chinese elm, which is an invasive species that grows everywhere and does the very thing that I was about to show. These things, they will grow and they'll make a full undercarriage that's very dense. You know, a tiger would not be able to get through it, chasing after monkeys, for instance. But it's sort of anything that's an invasive or introduced species. We think, oh, it's noxious weed, it's a terrible thing, and it's killing our environment, it's destroying the biodiversity of the ecosystem. Well, I was asked a question by a good friend of mine years ago, and I wasn't able to answer it. And so I'll ask you, how long or how many generations does a plant or an animal need to be in a country before it's naturalised? You know, you could argue, if it come here on the wind, then it's naturalised. Indian myna bird apparently blew here on the wind. So it's an invasive introduced species from somewhere else, but if nobody brought it here and the wind brought it here, well, it's kind of a native, isn't it? Anyway, what this one's about is this beautiful big fig. It must have been a bit of genetic engineering, because this one's growing steel. I think it'd be a lot more efficient to just get the steel out of the ground rather than try and grow it on the trees, but what do I know? Not that much. Someone sent me a photo today. Another good dear friend sent me a photo of a tree that looked like a bear. And I said it was a pretty strange looking bear, but I admit I've never actually seen a bear, so what do I know? Now, if you can imagine this tree living for another 200 years, you can see how it branches out. It provides a lot of cover, a lot of shelter, a lot of habitat for a lot of different creatures, most of which we would never see or even knew ever existed. That's biodiversity. That's what keeps the whole planet alive. That's also the dreaming. That's the living universe from which you were born. It's there for you. You can access it. Even these ones, see the Chinese elm growing on the other side of the tree. Quite prolific. This is still the dreaming, you know. The living universe in which you were born. And something with trees that I found a few years ago is, you know, when you're having a difficult time and the centrifugal forces of life and the busyness of the human world, particularly here in the first world, apparently we're supposed to be living at a certain standard and stuff like that, you know. So, when I was first starting to get into doing this as a therapy dog thing with dogs and breeding the dogs, so it was probably 3 years ago now. One Sunday night, I didn't get a chance to get out and do this. Like it's just gone midnight. It's probably 12:05 or something. So this is a pretty common thing. And the dogs really need to be able to do this kind of stuff. I've got them in a safe place here. There's creek over there, and then gutter and floodway over there. So they get to run around, and I bring them down here after flash flooding. You get all this water here, like probably a good 30 feet of water, just smashing through for probably 4 or 5 hours, and then it's all gone. Not much chance of a snake or anything like that there because it's all been wiped away. But still alive. Quite a wondrous country, wondrous planet. Anyway, if you just put your hands on a tree and just feel that it's alive. You know, this is biological life, isn't it? Science says that this is alive. Can you feel its heartbeat? Can you feel its spirit? Can you feel its consciousness? Can you feel its pain? Can you feel its happiness? Can you feel its life force? There you go, I just felt it there. So what I got there is this, it's like a pulsing, it's like a gentle electric pulsing on the outside of my hands. Feels like it's on the outside of my hands. It's not actually touching my skin, but it is touching my skin, and my skin is touching the tree, and then I feel it on the inside. That's how it goes for me. That's something I'm familiar with. Understand that that's the living universe from which I was born. So I put it to you that if you are having a bad day or a bad time, or no matter what kind of time you're having or what kind of state of being you're in, if you come and you get a tree, any tree, but particularly one that catches your attention. I always do it with the trees that catch my attention. I look at it and go, wow, what a beautiful tree. Now, I need a tree about this size. If I've got a tree about this size, then I can sit down and meditate under it, or I can do qigong underneath it. And I can clear my energy field. Whether it's a fig tree, a eucalyptus tree, a banksia, a grevillea, paperbark, melaleuca, all different kinds. Stringy bark, grey gum, ghost gum, red gum, black gum, all different kinds of things, you know. This kind of size tree, which I say is probably 30, 40 years old. So it's pretty young. If you put your hand on it and you just feel it, what you feel is the trunk of a tree. Everybody knows what that feels like, don't they? If you don't, then I really encourage you to get out there and put your hand on a tree. Feel yourself. How do you feel? Feel the tree. It's quite a cold wind blowing at the moment. It's quite nice. We've got opportunity to actually feel a bit of the cold and actually shiver a bit here. I'm in Brisbane, Australia at the moment, and yeah, it's been a very temperate, very moderate winter indeed. Well, the only thing that makes you realise it's winter is it gets dark so early and light so late. But it's nice to have a little bit of wind. It sort of reminds me of growing up, and you just get to savour it, because in Brisbane it doesn't get cold. Not where I grew up. Oh, freezing cold. Oh, bitterly freezing cold. Those westerly winds, they howl over the desert after they come off the Southern Ocean, after they come off Antarctica. Oh my goodness gracious. Excuse me, Elvis. Excuse me, Elvis. I'm just trying to do a educational video here, please, mate. I'm about to wrap it up. Elvis, come here, mate. Excuse me, Elvis, come here. Come here, buddy. You can be in it. I just need you to not be barking and making such a loud, incessant noise, mate. Just while I'm filming. I'm just trying to put out an educational video out to the World Wide Web. This is my moo-moo here. And this is little frazzle sweetheart, my baby. She's the matriarch, and this is the first daughter. That's Lillian. That's my little one, Isha. This is Boxer. And this is my little one. Oh, you're my little one. Aren't you my little one? This one, I think I might call her Dave. I've just been calling them my little ones, you see, for 4 months. I couldn't let these ones go. So I think I might call them Isha and Deva. D-E-V-A. Isha is probably what Jesus was actually called. Don't know how it come to Jesus, it's like if you translate the Lord's Prayer from Aramaic to English, it sounds like some bloody hippie just made it up in 1977 or 1967, which, by the way, in 1967 there was this great study done about the hippie movement, and trying to work it out. What is this? Why is it so popular and so powerful, and this whole sweeping change that's occurring, and these people actually seem like they're happy. Like, what's going on here? And this PhD study come to realise, or what they found from the study, the major thing that I took from this study anyway, from this research, there were kind of things, but the biggest thing that I took from it was, in order to feel love and to express the love and to receive the love and be comfortable with that and live in that state, then one needs to have already become comfortable with being vulnerable. That's a big one. Remember, I picked that up, bang, just like that. When I learnt that, I was like, oh, right, yeah, that makes so much sense to me. So I was already like that at that point in my life, thanks to the ancient art of Tantra. That's a good way to heal yourself and get used to being vulnerable and get comfortable with that, and it's really true. So I just really, from that point on, from that instant on, I've always tried to be a shining example of vulnerability. And it seems to not be that well received quite often these days, but that's the point of it, and it doesn't affect me if it doesn't get received, because people are like, hardness. Well, love is life force energy. That's what it is. And in the higher realms of consciousness, one cannot even recognize self from others. We're all the same. And then that life force energy, universal life force energy you hear about, like universal life force energy, prana, chi, that animating force, well, it's called the love. Now, to bring it back here to this tree, right? That's what I'm talking about. I do apologise for the digression. Excuse me, Elvis! Just be quiet for just 30 seconds, please, mate. Just let me wrap this up. I do apologise for that. He's gone over there, like he's allowed to be barking. I shouldn't really be telling him. I'm actually out of accord by telling him to be quiet, so I apologise for that. You're just going to put up with it. Now, see my hands here, and I feel like there's a buzz there, but I did just have my hand on here before and it got to that point. So it did take a minute and a half, 2 minutes, I suppose. While I was consciously doing the exercise, it still took that long before I felt the tree. And there we go, I feel it again now. So it comes in waves, you see. There's a cascade of different waves that come from it, from that connection, I find anyway. And what I'm getting at is, you can have the worst day of your life, or the worst day you could possibly imagine. Well, take the worst day you ever had and then multiply it exponentially by itself, and then load that into consciousness and come and stand under a tree. Admire the tree for its beauty. I was just looking at that tree over there, isn't it wonderful? I'm just going to take my hand off the tree to put this little light on here. I do apologise, I don't have my proper torches that you are accustomed to know that I have, because they've all been chewed, or there just seems to be some Bermuda Triangle thing going on with me, and good quality torches just disappear, or they just stop working. Anyway, so even the 7-year warranty just stopped working. I do admit I'm pretty hard on my everything material, particularly tool. So by the time you can feel in your own self, because you know that you're alive, so you're the one who's the gauge of this, It's not like someone else can tell you that this tree is alive and you just take it for gospel. Like, what's your experience? Your busy day, busy mind. Kids aren't grateful. Your missus doesn't seem to appreciate you, or your partner doesn't seem to appreciate you. The boss blames you for what the other fella did at work, and then gives them the promotion and the pay raise and the bonus holiday of the golf course over in Borneo with that lovely little cute secretary that you didn't get to go with them, you know, like, come put your hand on a tree. It might take you a few minutes. But by the time you get to that point of recognizing that this tree is alive, this is a living being, this biological organism here has got all this capillary action and the principle of dispersion, how it takes the energy from the ground and the water from the ground up and spreads it out throughout its body, its physical body. It also takes water in from the air and spreads that out. It also lets water out into the air and creates these microclimates. You know, like it's 13 degrees at the moment, I believe. But if you had a thermal imagery device, you would look at me here and I would be 28 degrees. 28.5 to be precise. And that's what this would be, 28.5 degrees. Trees tend to hold a microclimate in all different conditions. If there was half a dozen or 10 of these trees together in the same area, I can assure you it would be 28.5 degrees, even if it was 10 degrees for the ambient temperature. So remember that. It's always going to be a more stable temperature around trees. A more stable climate, in fact. So I really feel now that things have left me. Perhaps they weren't even my things to leave me, you know. Very sensitive to other people. Thought I had a pretty good day of introspection, just sorting my own stuff out, but, you know, there is other people in interaction. Oh, yeah, oh, the fuzziness, oh, the noise and the head and the fuzziness, and, you know, you start feeling really irrational and nonsensical and, like, stressed out. Like, what's the matter with me? Oh, it's not me. I'm feeling someone else. And this tree, I think this tree just might have said something to me, like identifying with me, that it knows what that feeling is like, yeah? So, I can pretty much guarantee you, if you go and put your hand on a tree, any tree, let's say any sizable tree like this, so it's got enough physical mass to be able to match your physical mass, by the time you get to that point of being able to say for sure that this tree is alive and you can feel its life force, you can feel its spirit, you can feel its animating force, that thing that takes the nutrients and the water from the ground and puts it right up there in the air, defying gravity, principles of diffusion and dispersion, quite amazing. And also it takes the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and it breathes it in. And it also uses it as food, makes its physical body. How's that? Quite wondrous, eh? Quite wondrous. Then there's this mycelium that keeps this connection between every living organism on the planet, even across oceans. Don't ask me how, but I'll give you a hint. It's kind of quantum physics and all this kind of stuff. So all of that's going on. By the time you feel the spirit of the tree, and you can say for sure, without a doubt, through your own experience, that this tree is alive, and you're feeling its life force energy, you're feeling its spirit, then I guarantee you, I can give you, no holds barred, no messing around, fully sincere, Bushtralian Jim money back guarantee that you will notice by the time that you can feel definitively that yes, this tree has a spirit and I'm feeling its spirit, the time it takes you to get to that point of coming back to yourself to be able to connect with someone else, because this is someone, isn't it? Then this tree will have already taken a lot of your gunk, a lot of your heaviness, a lot of your residual chi from your shoulders, your neck, your head, your stomach, if you're unwell, Or if you're like me, if you do a therapy on other people and you take on all this, you got this sticky, yucky stuff, then you got to go and cleanse. Well, here's a good way to cleanse. I always cleanse underneath trees if I can. And I always do my practice and my training every day underneath trees or multiple times a day. And it will take your energy. And what it does, it takes energy upwards. Off you, it lightens off. So you suddenly feel lighter. You're not so, drawn down. You're like, I feel quite buoyant, light. That's what an enlightened person is. It's light. The opposite of gravity. See, we tend to think as luminous. And it is that as well. But it's about light, as in not heavy. I'll give you another thing. This is great science that's come out a couple of years ago. All biological life emits light. A seed from this tree underneath the soil in the wintertime doesn't produce any light if it's not fertilised, germinated, it's not active. But when the rain comes and the conditions are right, then it, boom, starts coming to life. And by the time it gets to that point of going like that and something opening up, excuse me guys, just be quiet please, I'm trying to do an educational video, then it's releasing more than 1,000 photons per second. Pretty interesting, isn't it? Now we can do an experiment, do it together if you want to join me. So just close your eyes and, well actually you need some kind of measurement. If you put a human being into a room where there's no light and you've got all sensitive cameras, and these cameras here like on this phone, they got it now, like this camera is better than my old Nikon D300. A better light sensor. Quite amazing, eh? $400. $400. Need new phones, go into that office place that is open every day till late, and you can buy a brand new phone, unlocked, dual SIM, $400. Or $300. You get the Fandango one for $400. That's like a $1,600 phone for the ones next to it's got those other brands. Yeah, so it's a marvellous, wondrous world we live in, provided you live in the city and provided you got some money. If you don't have money, then yeah, it's still a wondrous world, isn't it? Anyway, so if you did have a camera, and you can do it with these cameras, I have done it with these cameras, you see a slight change. But just pretend that you're in a room and it's all dark, there's no luminous input, and there's sensors and cameras on you, and you're not thinking about light. Now you imagine here in your brain, which your mind is centralised there it seems, but it's not necessarily contained just to your brain, it's all over the place, isn't it? Your mind's out here everywhere. I don't think of the London Bridge. Don't think of it. Haha, your mind is in the London Bridge. Bring it back over here now, eh? Yeah. So, if you don't think of light, just try and have a blank, clear mind, like Yoda told Luke Skywalker to have. Now, imagine a bright light. See a bright light in your mind. And I can feel that I'm already starting to emit light. Well, it is actually a scientific fact, which is quite amazing, that a person emits light anyway. But when they start thinking of light, they start emitting about 6 times more light, just by thinking of light. So you just think of the dark, think of a dark room. Now think of a light bulb being turned on in that dark room. Suddenly you are emitting at least 6 times more light on average than what you were when you're thinking in a dark room. But you were already emitting light. That's wondrous, isn't it? And with that, if you keep that kind of thing in mind, and you connect with nature, and you connect with the tree, then your busy mind, your stress, your worry, your confusion, your uncertainty, your fear, your pensiveness, all these very natural and very real and very common and very everyday human emotions and experiences come to this point of harmony. They come to a point of grace and nurture, gentleness and nourishment, that the oil over the troubled water, so to speak. Instead of being, whoa, 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 it's just like, I think I can deal with this, you know what I mean? Didn't think I could, but Oh, yeah, I can. You know, I feel quite resilient. I feel like I've got the strength to be able to deal with this. I can deal with it. I can manage. And I feel gratitude and grace running through me. And wonder. I appreciate the wonder. So just have this moment now to share that with the tree. And I feel some more stuff lifting up off me. I guarantee you that if you go and put your hand on a tree for long enough for you to be able to feel its life force energy and its spirit and definitively say, yes, I can feel this tree's spirit. This tree is alive and it actually has a spirit and I can feel it. Well, by the time you get to that point and realise that, and you will get there, every human being will, can, does, and is already connected, then I guarantee you will have most of whatever was troubling you in that moment before you put your hand on the tree, it's already gone. And when it goes up, it rises up and disperses out, it separates. You've got a dense accumulation, rises up and disperses, and then it separates and it moves out into everything else, and it becomes everything else, and it is not that dense accumulation and worry and emotional experience that you're having. So that means it's been transmuted, it's been transformed, it's been turned into something else, it's been turned into everything else. And that means that you have a great new opportunity to take in a breath, breathe in a new opportunity, and breathe out, let go of everything that you know of anything to be. Yourself, life, the universe, the cosmos, anything that you know of anything that you know. A ground frame of reference, anything, forget, let go. Let go of everything that you know about anything, of yourself, life, the universe, anything. And then breathe in your opportunity. And breathe out, let go of everything that you know about anything, of yourself, anything, everything. And breathe in. New opportunity. And that's the secret for the new epoch that began at the end of time. So there's no more time. There is only becoming. Fortunately, the dreaming is a constant thing. Remember, they used to say, long ago, back in the dream time. Well, it's not like that. The dreaming is a constant state, an energy field that you can tap into. Particularly if you're in Australia. And creation comes about in this continent through dreaming. Have that one for free. Wish you well. Cheerio.